So on average, it takes around 1 to 2 years to learn software development. But what if I told you there is a faster and better way to get to that end goal? Most people learn to code wrong. They think that by watching a lecture online, learning a tutorial, and watching a couple of videos on YouTube, that they're gonna be top software engineers and actually remember the shit that they take in. And I was that exact same way. I thought that by taking the CS50 course or by reading a coding book, I would be the greatest coder and learn code on my own. But as soon as I got to my keyboard and started coding, I did not know where to start. I was lost, in fact. And I wish I went back to talk to my old self because I would have told him the things that I'm going to tell you in this video. So if you're a new coder, apply this immediately. Now, some of the contents will be from a book called Ultra Learning. I'm so sorry I forgot the author of the book. I think it's Scott something. I'll put a picture on the screen. It is an amazing book on learning stuff on your own. And especially if you're a self-taught coder that wants to start a business like myself, it is really important to maximize the way you learn because a ton of people have the advantage over you as a result of going to an accredited university and taking courses for 4 years. So the first thing you must do is set a timer for focused work. Most coders, when they're learning how to code, are extremely distracted in their everyday life. This goes for any type of skill like work or singing or reading. A ton of people that I know have their phones on ringer, like they have the notifications on. How do you expect to code and learn as much as possible if you have that thing on ringer? At the end of the day, 2 hours of deep focused work when you're in a flow state is infinitely times better than someone who's working for 8 hours a day distracted. And again, I apologize, but there was a study where they actually did this and found that if you are focused and in that flow state where you're being challenged, but you're doing it just enough because you understand it, then you get more done. You learn more. It's just a matter of the fact. So from now on, I challenge you to only do work when you know that it's going to be focused. If you know you can only do focused work for an hour, do that. Don't think that 3 hours of work where you're distracted is good. It's not. It's actually hindering because you're not learning and you're just moving along with the content like it's easy. And you actually learn more when you're focused because you're only focused on that task and you just end up doing more as a result of that. Now, the second thing is to follow tutorials, but don't copy tutorials. Tutorials are important to do and to follow if you're a new coder. I understand that when you start off, you don't know where to start and you need to follow someone. I still do this and I understand that. What people do is they follow the exact same steps as the tutorial user, like the guy that's showing you the tutorial. Rather, what you must do, get out of that, firstly, because that's what leads you to tutorial hell. But secondly, is to change up the code a little bit. This is the best way to learn. So for example, watch a tutorial, follow that tutorial, but maybe change a photo or change a font, change a color, change a functionality throughout the code. And slowly but surely throughout the tutorial, you'll end up with a totally different product than what the tutorial has shown. I found this to have worked extremely well, and you learn hands-on, which most people don't do. I'm telling you guys, most people don't do this. And if you could just get this across, but when you start to change stuff and apply what you want and add a little bit of your own CSS and HTML within it, then you start to find that it becomes yours and you're more proud of it. And though it may not look the best or it may not work, at the end of the day, what ends up happening is you learn from your mistakes and you strengthen those weaknesses. So the third thing is to only learn the basics of a subject you're learning, but then getting your hands dirty. So this leads back to number 2, but I'll go a little bit into depth in what I mean by this section. So when I was learning JavaScript, I would try to understand every aspect of the language, variables, object-oriented programming, for loops, if-while loops, whatever. The problem with that was that it took a long time. It took 6 months for me to finalize my knowledge in JavaScript, though I'm still not the best at it. And the mistake looking back at what I made was I should have learned the bare minimum from that language. So just learn the bare minimum. Go through the documentation, go through object-oriented programming for a week, learn that stuff. However, instantly after doing that, maybe for a month of learning JavaScript, I go straight into tutorials and applying what I've learned and getting my hands dirty. And I understand that your end product is gonna suck. You're gonna have something that looks like shit. It's gonna look bad. You're gonna be angry at yourself. I know that feeling of pure anger that you want to get better but you can't. But what ends up happening is you find the weak points in your code and what you are doing, and something magical ends up happening. And by learning by doing, you get hands-on experience that a lot of new coders don't, which will end up leading you to creating better products for whatever business you want to start or getting a job. I don't know. Now, finally, the fourth and final thing is to set a realistic timeline. This is not really a step, but you'll see what I mean in a second. Going into code, I thought that it was going to take me 3 months of hard and dedicated work. That type of thinking leads you to nowhere. Be realistic on what and how long it's going to take you, because it'll take you a long time, especially if you're coming from a non-technical background. I came from law, but a lot of people may come from psychology, business, whatever it may be. You must understand that this takes time. And right now, I've been learning code for 8 months. I would say seriously for five months. And it was only until I did the first 3 steps of focused work, following tutorials and learning the basics but then doing, until I started to get ahead and really compounded on what I was learning. But if you want to start that business like I do, if you want to work and get more money from this technical skill that you will have, then you must be realistic of what you're getting yourself into and understand that this stuff actually takes time, and that's a good thing. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please let me know. I'm 21 years old. I want to start a business. I'm teaching people right now, documenting my journey. And if you want to start a business as well, watch some of my more of my videos. I like to post coding stuff. I'm still new. But yeah, anyways guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.